Exactly.
Well, hello, hello, hello. It is so nice to connect with you way across in America. How are you guys doing? Yeah. Are you freezing over there?
Yes, we survived a very cold Halloween.
Yeah, there was snow and everything.
Yikes. I saw that in the news. They were saying it's very freezing cold. So yeah, we are experiencing it a little bit here. We were 37 this morning. We're not used to 37 in Texas.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, let's just jump in. Introduce yourselves, because anybody who's watching us on Facebook, they're like, who are these people and why are they just chit-chatting? What's going on here?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, my name is Sheila. I am a center owner. I have 2 centers located near Madison, Wisconsin. I have been in the early care and education field for about 30 years, and I've been a center owner for just shy of 20, working with children everywhere from the age of birth through 4th grade.
And you have a beautiful school. I just love your school.
Thank you.
And I am Tasha Smolinski. Sheila's my mom. I've been working at her center for 6 years now. And I think that's as long as I've been in childcare too. Worked with a range of kiddos right now in 4K and transferring into doing school age after school and then doing school age in the summer, I believe too. So very excited for those changes. But
awesome. And tell people what your name of your school is in case they're looking for some good high quality school.
Thank you. So the center I own is called Wishing Well Preschool and Childcare. So we are located just north of Madison.
And you're NAC accredited and you are a Rising Star. You should tell people all the good things that they have in case they're looking for good quality care.
Yes, we are. We are Young Stars with the program that we use here in Wisconsin. We are 5-star rated. We have used the National Association for accreditation for our 5-star rating. We have staff that have been with us, everything from newly hired through 17 years is my longest tenured staff. We have degreed staff. The majority of our staff hold 4-year degrees. Some of them hold 2-year degrees. Some are in like co-op programs. So we kind of support our teachers as well, which is why we found Prerna. She has been a real asset for us. She is part of our quality care program here as a coach and mentor to our staff, because even our senior and tenured staff need coaching and mentoring in the job that they do. So we really lean heavily on her for some of the support we need to be great and awesome at the job we do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And so for anybody joining and don't know who I am, let me take a minute and introduce myself. I'm Prerna Richards and I've been in the field of early childhood now for 38 years and still love it. Absolutely passionate about it. This is a calling to me. It's not a job. It's not a title. I love what I do. I don't work a single day in my life because I just love what I do. And Together We Grow is the company that was created 5 years ago. And Together We Grow provides 3 services. The first one being professional development, but the professional development is all brain-based, brain science-based, brain research-based, good for the grown-up's brain, good for the young one's brain, just good in general for brain. And my heavy focus is social emotional learning and trauma-informed and challenging behaviors. That's my jam. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I make a difference in. And the second thing I do is I'm a behavior coach. Do actual in-person observations and give debriefs and feedback. And also I have a membership online where staff come and get supported in an ongoing manner. And the last thing is, of course, NAUIC accreditation if you're looking for getting your program accredited, classroom observations, portfolios, all that jam. So today, the 3 of us are here because Sheila and Tasha have been part of the coaching membership now for several years. I lose count of time, so but it seems like a while. And so Sheila has done it with an investment in her program perspective, and maybe she can speak more to that, how this is an investment in the program. And Tasha's done it more on the teacher receiving side, and maybe she can share how this helped or didn't help, or what changes it made, or we can just talk about it just in general.
Yeah. So from an owner perspective, I happened to come across Prerna during COVID. And we are all very aware of the struggles we faced during that time frame and the struggles our teachers faced. And I just felt like burnout was huge, and the issues the teachers were facing in the classroom and the behaviors we were seeing just began to grow. And by the grace of my higher power, she came into my world, and the connection was just immediate. Like, I just knew that this was the aha moment I needed of the person who was in my life for a reason. And so we started connecting and having conversations, and we actually brought Prerna to Wisconsin in March.
Was it a year ago? Was it 2 years ago? I can't even
Came to
remember.
Wisconsin in March.
It was fun.
Here's our wonderful yucky snow. But she came and she worked with my staff on the piece of it that she talked about brain development. And like I mentioned earlier, we had seasoned staff who know this stuff. They've been to school, they learned this, but it was such a great refresher to bring my staff back around on brain development and where kids are at. And here we are, we're at fight, fawn, freeze, all those pieces, and being back to, oh yeah, these kids, where are they at right now in this time in their life? Where are we at as adults at this time in our life? So that was such a great opportunity for my staff to really go back and think about it. My newer staff who really hadn't experienced that education and understanding brain development were given that opportunity to really delve deep into that. So we spent a whole day with her learning about that information. And as a bonus, she came out and did a whole session with my parents. So the families got an opportunity to come and spend some time with her and kind of learn about, as a parent, how do these things affect them and their parenting and their children. So some great opportunities there as well for my families. Afterwards, we then joined the coaching. So the coaching piece was an investment. It was an opportunity for me to invest back into my staff, to give them the opportunity to have some one-on-one time, some coaching, this is what we're struggling with, help us move forward. People always say they don't do tips and tricks, but these are not tips and tricks. These are really smart ways to move forward and give you some schematics for your classroom that are going to make big differences. And I'll let Natasha talk to that, because she really does have more of the ideas on how that works.
I think you mentioned something really important just now, that people shy away from this word tips and tricks, and you're right. It sounds like tips and tricks. It sounds like it's easy implementation, but I think it's to me, it's more changing inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's maybe sounds like a tips and tricks outside, but you're actually changing how you react and respond from inside out. Tips and tricks sounds like very quick in the moment. Give me a sentence, which is there. There's also that script, but do you agree that this kind of evolves, and maybe, I don't know, you can add to it, but.
Yeah. I don't know. I talk about you to anybody and everybody who will listen. I talk about you in my classes at school, to people during our PD days, like our professional development days for 4K, to friends, just like anybody. I'm always like, oh, this is what Prerna says. This is what, oh, I have a little something to say on that verse. I'm like, I'm like always so excited to be like, oh, I know this wonderful person who's taught me all these things. And I'm like, I feel like I should know more about her, because I'm like, yeah.
Tasha, this is a love fest, because I feel the same way about both of you. I'm so always excited to share examples that you brought in the coaching. I'm like, yes, and she's a really good teacher, and this is how she refined it, and this is how she took it further. So yes, this is a love fest for both of you. Like, I have the highest respect.
When I think about going back to that tips and tricks versus how you change internally, I think about one of the things you brought to the day where we had our training was the stop, breathe, and anchor. That could be taken as a tip and a trick, but when you really look at how you internalize that and change your own behavior in the classroom, you stop, you take that deep breath, you find your pause, and then you respond. I use that not just in the classroom when I step in for a teacher. I use that in my office every day.
Life.
It's life for life. I use it when this one walks into my household some days, So it might be taken as a tip or a trick, but it also becomes a way you respond to things. So, you're using it in the classroom. I've seen her use it in the classroom. I've seen my teachers, after working on coaching and mentoring with you on a coaching day, implement those tools, because that's really what they are, on an ongoing basis for a long-term situation. So, they might have come to you with this child's problem or this behavior management issue they're having, or there's biting, or there's hitting, or there's, pushing, or, those are the simple ones. They come to you with harder problems too, or challenging behaviors or things that they're struggling with. But when they turn it and reverse it and look at their responses and how they're dealing with it, it often becomes a behavior change in them that results in a behavior change in the classroom.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Very well said. Yeah, very well said. I'm using it in my day-to-day life. I don't have a classroom, but I'm SBAing myself all the time.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no, I had
So
to do it.
Tasha, if you had to share highlights of how this has changed you as a teacher, because we're talking about changing from inside out, and you're very introspective and you run and you reflect, how would you say it has changed you in your connections to children, or teaching practices, or just you being as the grown-up in the classroom? How are you changing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more aware of the things that are happening. I'm more interested in those connections and not just being like, oh my gosh, here they go again kind of thing, where it's like, today I had some friends who were, they always argue, they always do things, and it's like, I had to SBA for a minute and I was okay, now we're gonna sit down and actually have a conversation about this, or like try and like work towards what our actual goal is, because it's like, I feel like I used to be like kind of a snippy teacher where I would just be like, oh my gosh, why are you doing that kind of thing, where it just like where it's just like triggering for me. Like we've talked a lot about triggers for those kinds of things, and I feel like through the years that I've known you and talked to you, like I feel like I just like reflect more on like myself internally, and how like so much like the way that I act in the classroom, the way that I show them how people are, like that impacts them, especially being so young, at the way that then they act in the classroom too. And then it's kind of like this back and forth between us. And I feel like over the years I've seen that become much more like empathetic and caring, and like actually taking the time to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing and why I love being here and doing the things and stuff like that, where I'm just like, yeah, I feel like that's my biggest thing, is like I feel like I'm not so harsh. I feel like I've definitely softened a lot, and like actually taking the time to like understand like, oh, this is why you're saying this, or this is why you're doing that to that friend kind of thing, where it's like, it's not just like looking at what's happening in this moment, it's like what little things kind of like added up to what's happening now, whether that was at home on the way to the like, on the way to school, or did it happen where they were just kind of a back and forth or things like that. Like I feel like I'm just more like aware of like there are other outside factors that are happening for this like specific one thing. So
powerful, right? So you said several words. You said now you're interested in them instead of just reacting. You're actually interested in what they're saying, and you're becoming more intentional, and you're becoming empathetic. Like this is huge, right? If we want to really change the humanity, if you want to change the next generation, if more of us could become like you, Tasha, more young children will have a strong start in life. And this is not rocket science. This is just changing the way we show up in the world, right? And children deserve the best. I mean, children deserve the best. It's just the most powerful. I mean, I could talk for hours on this, but really 90% of the brain development is happening in birth to 5 in our programs. Our work matters, it's meaningful, it's important, and every child deserves the best start in life. And really, you framed it so beautifully that just even the simple word of just being interested in them. Let's just start there. Let's just show up for them, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that has like built such strong then connections with the kids who are in my class, where like they want to talk to me about things like outside of the class. They want to show me their pictures. They want to tell me a story. They want to come sit by me at the table. They, it's those things that like, I feel like I have like a good strong bond with the kids who are in my class a lot of the time, because it's like, I feel like being more, like you said, intentional with the way that I show up to John every day. So
I think you're just elevating the field, you're elevating the teaching craft, and teaching, I think, is the highest honor to help young brains be molded and young hearts to be touched. So I know we could talk forever, but I just want to take a minute and explain how this coaching program works in case you're curious. It is an investment for your program. So it is designed for the coaches. It used to be designed for the teachers. Now we're shifting gear for the new year. it is being designed for coach the coaches and investing in your key players. So if you have managers, instruction coach, curriculum coach, behavior coach, assistant director, director, owner, whatever your title is, send your person who you've already invested in, who's not going anywhere, who's there for your program, and that person gets the knowledge and shares it to the others, and they coach others. So you're empowering your team, you're elevating your team, and it is completely life-changing. Let me just say that, because I think as humans, when we can slow down as humans, and really the goal for this membership is easy: transform from stress to joy. That's the
Yes.
goal, just trying to bring more joy in the classrooms and just take the stress away. And like Sheila was talking about, since COVID, we're still reeling from all the stress. I don't think we're fully caught up with that. I think the stress levels are high. The parents are busy, the parents are reactive, the staff are we put 1,000 things on them, we're demanding a lot. And on top of that, the children are reacting, right? So the purpose of the membership, in case you're curious, reach out, find out more. It's not so complicated. Plus, along with the ongoing coaching, the weekly coaching, you get a new training every month. We do book studies. We've done the Whole Brain Child. We're now on the Atlas of the Child. Do you guys want to talk about that, the piece of book studying together?
Yes.
Yeah. So I did the Whole Brain Child as well. And that book I felt like had just so many good like nuggets of information and like aha moments of like, oh my gosh, yeah, and like it resonated so well with me. And again, I've recommended it to like a couple of people. I'm giving it to a friend who wants to read it. It's like, you know, again, I'm just like, take all the information. I'm like, please, somebody. And so it's also good because we did the video aspect of it, or like little meetings then with people who are also doing the book study. And so you got to have some really good conversations with other people and get their parts of and pieces of what was happening in their own worlds and how they were interpreting things. And it was just like a good collective, I don't know, a good collective for all of us. I think a nice community to have that outlet and be able to discuss things.
And now we're just starting with Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, and super excited about it, because emotions are not something that we are most comfortable talking about. So we're going there.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, because the Whole Brain Child was like, I felt like I took that into the classroom a lot and like looked at that in the way of like the children who I was with. And I feel like this Brene Brown one, it's definitely gonna make me think like internally then more. So I feel like it's like a good, like a little bit of like, okay, now me, my turn.
Yeah. And if you're interested in this, and I'll have the details on my Facebook anyway, but I'm doing a free mastermind class December 5th, 6th, and 7th. For those of you that are listening, if you join during those days, you'll get 20% discount to start the membership in January. And so come and sign up for the December 5th and 6th and 7th, and we'll definitely be taking more programs from stressful to joyful. That's the guiding principle. That's the North Star we're going for. Just need more joy and fun and learning in the classrooms and not be stressed out brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for making time and jumping on this and sharing your perspective, because really you guys are doing such amazing work. And I'm just so grateful to be collaborating with wonderful people like you.
Yes.
Well, thank
Well,
you. Yeah.
Thank you for coming into our world and allowing us to help share the joy here at Wishing Well.
Exactly.
We love you and what you do for us. So
thank you. Love you too. And thank you, God, right? But by the grace of God, these things happen by the grace of God. And that's it. Just like that's all I got to say. So thank you, guys. If anybody's listening and joining, and if you have questions, leave them in the comments. Let us know. You can ask any of us. We're really happy to help and make a difference. That's where our heart is. We want to make a difference.
absolutely.
Exactly.
All right. Chat